Hey beauties, it's Riri. If you're new here, I'm an over 40 lover of all things beauty and I love showcasing indie brands here on my channel. Speaking of indie brands, I am so incredibly excited to be announcing the brand new collection from Nomad Cosmetics. Let's dive right in. Welcome back to the golden age of flying. The Nomad Air collection has been expanded. The new Nomad Air Canadian Rockies YXC Travel Eyeshadow Palette. The inspiration, mountain calling, take a hike, brave the bears, and find your peak in the glorious Canadian Rockies with fresh air, pristine lakes, and moose crossings all over. Let's see what adventure awaits. The palette, rich pine greens and vibrant glacier lake blues, combined with lighter hues of nature's woods and mountains, 4 blendable mattes and 2 brilliant shimmers. Next up is the Abu Dhabi Travel Eyeshadow Palette. The inspiration, desert oasis. From the colors of the souks and smells of the spice market to meditative golden hour that enfolds the rising dunes and endless sands. Join us as we experience magical Abu Dhabi. The palette, warm neutrals. Collection of colors from rich spices and desert sands to sunset hues of the golden hour on the dunes. 4 smooth mattes and 2 exquisite shimmers. Last up on our trip around the world is the Oslo Gardermoen Travel Eyeshadow Palette. The inspiration? Nordic cool. Explore the capital of democratic design from its practical and stylish fashion to the functional and striking architecture as we head into the trendy and happening Oslo. The palette? Cool neutrals. A mix of shimmery silver and metallic dusty pink with cool taupe and greige for natural and minimal cool tone looks. 4 soft mattes and 2 glistening shimmers. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of information about the collection. I will have all the pertinent information, deets, pricing, launch time and date, and everything else right here, as well as down in the description box. This collection was gifted from Nomad Cosmetics, so thank you to Nomad Cosmetics for gifting. And I do have a non-affiliated code that you can use to save 10%, Riri10. We're diving right in, y'all. I'm so incredibly excited. And if you already guessed it, you were probably right because of what I'm wearing and my love for green. I'm gonna go into the Rockies one first. This is the Canadian Rockies palette. And I'm gonna be doing this as a 3 looks. So the other 2 looks I obviously have not filmed yet, but I will do this look. I will pop those up. I'll give you my final thoughts and stuff like that. I feel like y'all know how I feel about Nomad Cosmetics though. Just saying. I'm going to go into a fluffy brush. This is an Empress Me brush. It doesn't have a number on it, but it's just kind of an open fluffy brush. I am first going to go into the soft pastel green. And I'm going to pop that. Whoa! That has a little bit more pigment than I anticipated. Okay. I'm going to pop this into the crease. And I typically actually prime my lids, but I did just take my foundation up onto my lids and I did set that with a little bit of translucent powder. So that is my eye base for today. I'm going to go in with the lighter shade, kind of build up a little bit of depth, and then pop on the shimmer shades. I like that these are incredibly beginner friendly. I am so happy that they decided to kind of expand. That looks so beautiful, you guys. That is definitely giving me way more pigment. If you're new here, I'm sorry. Way more pigment than I anticipated, and I am not mad at that at all. But I am so incredibly happy that they decided to expand on the Nomad Air collection. Again, it's one of my all-time favorite collections and palettes, not just from Nomad, but it made it to like my top palette of the year last year. Like, I love that little palette. I call it the little palette that could, and I hope that they even expand this a little bit more and come out and do, you know, a yellowy version, a purple version, you know, things like that. I would love to see kind of a full-on expansion of these. Because first and foremost, I think they are incredibly beginner friendly. You automatically know you can go in with one of these 2 shades, use it as a, you know, transition shade, go in with a deeper shade to deepen it up, and then you slap on a metallic or shimmer shade. I feel like they're so incredibly beginner friendly. I also like that their formula is also beginner friendly. I personally like a formula that, as you guys can see, I'm starting off nice and soft, but I'm able to build it up to kind of true pan color, if you will. I am not somebody that likes something that is incredibly pigmented, and I mean pigmented in the way of I'm, you know, setting it down here and it does not go anywhere and it does not budge, it does not blend, it doesn't layer well. I've never had that issue with Nomad Cosmetics ever. I feel like their matte formula is beautiful. I'm also a huge fan of their shimmer formula, so yeah, I think they're incredibly beginner friendly. The actual color stories here are very beginner friendly in my opinion. I feel like they are very inclusive and they give back, which I love. I love Nomad Cosmetics just as a brand, as a whole. They're fantastic in my eyes. Next up, I'm going to go into this little Vasanti contour eyeshadow brush. It's slightly smaller, but pinched. I think I'm going to go here first, and you will get a little bit of kick up. That does not bother me. You know, unless it's to the point where I cannot work with it and it's literally tons and tons and tons of it and it's falling all over my face, then I don't mind it at all. I do like to note it for you guys though. Next, I'm going to go into the Clarity Cosmetics K220, and I'm going to go, actually, I think in between both of these shades, and just pick up a little bit from each. Tap off the excess. I feel like I'm getting a little bit more kick up than I typically get from their shadows. Again, that does not bother me, but I do know that it bothers some people, so I'm going to note it for y'all. And then I'm just going to further deepen up the outer portion, bring it just a little bit into the crease as well. Next, I'm going to go into the blue, I think, on the outer parts, and then the green on the inner part. I'm just going to use my fingers. That's kind of my personal preference with shimmer and metallic shades. Oh, that is beautiful. Of course, I'm a fan of having something very light for my inner corner. It doesn't bother me that it's not in here because I'm going to go in with my Noctilucent palette. Oh, that is beautiful. Exactly what I was aiming for. Next, I'm going to go into like a firm packer brush. I'm going to go into each of the metallic shades. They do pick up great on the brush as well. And I'm just going to aim to clean this up just a little bit and make it a little bit more precise. You could wet your brush. You could go in with a silicone applicator. I typically feel like I get the best bang for the buck, so to speak, with, you know, metallic shadows and stuff like that, with my fingers. This is just to give me a little bit more control, a little bit more precision. I'm gonna flip the brush over and go into the green now. Again, it picks up great. All right, I love this. I think it performed great. Now I'm going to go into the Blend Bunny Noctilucent palette, and these are more like translucent shadows. I'm going to go into the shade Transient, and you can see, aside from this one kind of clearly having some color to it, these basically look white, but then they all have these beautiful shifts to them, and I think this is going to be absolutely stunning for my inner corner and the brow bone. All right, here's the finished eye look. I'm going to line my lips with my Huda Beauty lip contour. This is the shade Rich Brown. I'm going to go in with the What's Up Beauty Seba or Seba lipstick. And then I'm going to put the Pat McGrath Labs, the Dark Star Mascara on my top lashes, and the Maybelline Lash Discovery Mini Wand on the bottom. I'll come back and we'll dive into the next two looks. All right, and here is the finished look using the Canadian Rockies palette. On to the next two looks. beauties, here to give my final thoughts. Here's the third look that you guys just finished watching. I actually have to say I think this is my favorite of all three looks, and I'm not typically a cool tone gal, but I like it a lot. I did have a little bit more fallout in the Canadian Rockies palette versus the other two. Aside from that, I feel like everything worked great. I will note that I personally think this is really stunning, but when I did wet my brush to do the inner corner, far more impactful. I did also get a little bit of fallout from that shade. Again, not something that's, you know, a pass for me, but I definitely think you would benefit from using a glitter primer or a glitter glue for sure. I'm thrilled to have these. I think they performed beautifully. I think that they layer well, they blend well, and they last well on my lids personally. I'm thrilled to have them. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. What look was your favorite? Comment down below. Let's have that conversation. Thank y'all so much for joining. Thank you to my beautiful channel members. I love you. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. And of course, be your own best beautiful. Bye, beauties.